Thank you, Elder. In your sermon in the morning, you talked about this was a talk about ladies, young ladies, and they are in a transition that has led them to look up to older men, which older men are already into engagement, permanent engagements. How can the church, all you the leaders, check this?
Yes, happy Sabbath, everyone. Thank you, Elder. I'm Chitame Cadence, is my name. I'm a good follower of you on TikTok and also radio in the family clinic program. Now, my question, maybe it's like a question or not a question. I want you to emphasize this point because you talked about in the family clinic that we as the youth, we don't understand dating, that we end up mixing things. So I want you to emphasize here what should be done in dating. Because when we were there in our family meeting, someone said that advanced men are stingy, and you're still in dating and someone has realized you're stingy. So I think you can tell us what should be done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our preacher. Mine is a question. I'm called the single majesty. My question is there any specific lady God chose to be yours? Oh, oh, I'm still blinking. Oh, what if you get a lady, then you pray to God that God, I need that lady. Can God listen, answer your prayers and give you that particular lady?
Wow. Very interesting questions, and I want us to discuss the responses here. We can respond to these first, then of course we can turn to the other questions as well. So what do you think for the last question here? Has God created a specific person for you? He's asking, maybe I can pray and ask the Lord that it is possible the person I'm looking at and is attractive to me is the person I can marry. Or there is that specific person that without this person, then you can't marry any other. What do you think? Let's discuss. Yes, sir.
I think because God has endowed us with a lot of wisdom, it is upon us men, or whoever gives up such a prayer. Of course, I will not think, okay, God is all-knowing, but I will not think he will bring it to you as like he did, he threw food to the Israelites in the wilderness. There are means. He gives you the basics, and the basic minimum would be, in our present day world, you need to have an education, a certain level of education, to move into such a person you want, because she might have a status that you need to match up with. Then the other thing is, we need to drive certain things out of our mechanisms, like fear. When you look at a woman,
she's chosen for me. Any other responses before I can make a comment? Other responses before I can make a comment on that? Yes. Let's have the microphone to him. Get the microphone to him.
Yes, thank you very much. My response to Brother Justus, God will not get you someone and be like, this is the one who's yours. Because when he did it first to Adam, he was the only man on earth. Because he was given only two on earth.
earth. After Adam had to complain, he complained to God. The lady you gave me did this and this. So this gives you wisdom so that you can choose the right partner for you, so that you don't blame him when things stand. Partner for you, so that you don't blame him when things stand.
I can hear some clapping, meaning something is sort of like resonating with some of the responses that some of you would give. One more response on that, then I can make my comment. Any response on that? Okay. One of the greatest gifts that God has given us is the gift for choice, to choose. We either choose intelligently or we choose otherwise and we regret for the rest of our lives. Has He given us specific persons that we must marry, that we must get married to? For me, no. But God has endowed us with the wisdom, that is one. Very, very important that we pray and ask for wisdom. Number two, we have the things that work for us. There are things that work for me that don't work for you. And then there is a bit of that chemistry, the person that you feel, surely when you meet this person is the kind of a person that creates butterflies for you. A person that you really feel is a special person. And then you're going to sit next to a person and surely nothing is happening. You receive a message from a person, and even if you were reluctant to open this message after 2 weeks, that is fine. This person doesn't really mean anything to you. So, somebody that is too short. So, physically, somebody that is too short. So, physically, physical attraction begins to eliminate a certain appearance of some people. Some people love the people who are brown. They meet a lady that is brown, like these brown ones. Others, dark-skinned. It's not about how brown you are. So we are different people, different likings. Now, you have been given the knowledge to do with your spiritual antennas. They are looking for a person that has a relationship with God. In terms of physical appearance, a yes for me. But spiritually, I don't think this is the person I would love to go with. Like I would be surprised if one of you stays ordinarily. Give factors constant. There must be a problem with this microphone. Can we have a better microphone, please? Ordinarily, holding other factors constant, we go for people that share certain aspects of our spiritual lives. Many times I keep asking Adventist young people, how on earth do you fall in love with a Muslim and you want to marry a Muslim? How on earth would you marry a Catholic? You are two different people. And quite often I am told the gents in church are fewer in number. The men in church are not serious. When you say men in church are not serious, are you implying that the men outside the church are more serious? When the ladies out there who are not Adventists come across our young men who are Adventists, they are like, let me tell you, a young man who is an Adventist in a church, however problematic he may be, however unspiritual he may appear to you, is far better than one who is out there and is not a Christian. But you see, it is the work of the devil to begin deceiving us that this gentleman who is a Muslim, who is a Catholic, is more loving, is more understanding. You are understanding the two different gods. So, your question is philosophical, but a very interesting question. Has God created a specific body I must marry? No. Has he guided on who to marry? Yes. Is the sample space big? Yes. So, out of these many, one, for example, you look like you will marry a woman that is brown. So, I wonder whether you will fall for women who are not brown. Chances are you would want to go for a brown lady. He's actually nodding in agreement to say, brown ladies, yes for me. So, you now begin to look at those who are brown. Number two, you may probably, some people go ahead. I never talked about in the morning. I never talked about that in the morning. There are those that go ahead and say, I want to marry a specific tribe. And there's no problem. For them, they want to marry from Banyankole. They want to marry from Bachiga, Banyarwanda, Baganda. It's up to them. Maybe they can't handle your culture. I would rather have a person that says, I can't marry you. Why? I can't handle your culture. That is okay. Every person has a right on who he or she marries. But I don't have the right to force someone to marry me. But I have the right to say yes or say no to a person. As simple as that. So, marketplace discussion in the morning. You size up the things that you want, factoring in those very important topics, aspects, until you make a decision and say, I think the right lady for me to marry that qualifies in the different categories. God-fearing, yes. Beautiful in my eyes, yes. Hardworking, yes. So whenever you keep putting yes, 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 chances are this is the person that you have. Now, I want to sort of like create a question that probably you would want to ask later so that I can respond to this as well. And listen carefully. This is where most of you begin to cry tears when it comes to relationships. Africans don't know dating. Dating is their biggest problem. To date simply means to understand a person further, deeper. I can date her. I can. She's laughing. I can do what? You get that chair. No, come and sit here. I can date her. And the reason as to why you are laughing, it is implying the wrong connotations that we have about dating. Dating her simply means she's seeking to understand me more. I am seeking to understand her more. Nothing more than that. So during the dating period and phase of your life in relationships, date as many as possible. I don't know whether I'm making sense to someone. So, our ladies find young men problematic just because this young man today is dating this one, the other day is dating. I am dating. I am not sleeping with this person. He's a womanizer. He's a womanizer. One young man was so interesting. He said, he was like, Elder, I have listened to you train people, help people appreciate what dating is all about. Can you please do more about that? Because if I took a person for a date doesn't mean touching the breasts of a young lady. A date doesn't mean a kiss. A date does not even mean a peck. A date does not even mean any touches. We are just exchanging and having tea. And this is where most of you miss out on this very beautiful, beautiful phase of relationships. So, the same place she's seated, okay, another person will come and sit. I dated the other one first. I am dating. But is this one dateable? So, I am dating another person. I could have dated this one on Monday. Tuesday, actually, if I want, I am dating her. Over the weekend, I am dating her. Can somebody listen to me? Go back and sit. Now listen carefully. The beauty about this, at this level, I am testing out on different things. Actually, when I dated her, she was seated here, I was seated here. Now, another time, this other gentleman is dating her. Now, we are sizing up in the market. In the market, when you go to, for example, buy pancakes, you don't buy it on the pancakes and say, let me first test before I buy. You look at the pancakes, appreciate. It is at the moment when you finally say, these are the pancakes that I want to buy, that you finally buy. What is happening during the dating period? We are having a conversation. Hello, hello. How are you? How is your family? What are your hobbies? What are the things that you love most? What are the things that you love? Meanwhile, we are creating rapport. Rapport is building. I'm stating something very, very important, and young men and ladies, listen carefully. Today, why most of you are crying? If one gentleman today picked the courage, and on that fateful evening, you pick interest in this person to say, I am dating you. Usually the distance between you and the person you are dating, it is a casual Sabbath evening like this one, we're almost ending, and somebody is like, hello, could we meet, chat, have a cup of tea? You go. The next thing you see, you are too close for comfort. She's here and you are there. Zero distance. When you are like this close, I want you to watch. For now, this one is a lady now. You cannot make any meaningful discussion. Here, your brain is ceasing to work, and instead the body's adrenaline now is beginning to reason. All over this lady, you are touching here, touching there, touching here, touching there. And this is what people call dating. No wonder, because this is what they did to her. She keeps imagining finding you with another lady, you were exactly doing the same things. In other words, you are getting intimate with this person. If dating was practiced the right way it is supposed to be, she has no problem. You never took anything of mine, I never took anything of yours. All that happened was a conversation. We discussed, we chatted, we took tea. Thank you. I want you to listen carefully, very carefully. However, out of the 5, probably 6 ladies, out of the 3 gents that I have dated for a period of 6 months, there's another person. There's one of those that you can ask for a second date. He's communicating. You remember how I dated her first? And then she's back. That frequency begins to tell something. You dated her first. The second dating, you are even more relaxed. On your first date, even the questions are fewer. Those are the moments when you hear statements like, you also talk, why aren't you talking? Why are you quiet? As if this person will not eventually talk. You seem to be quiet. You seem to be dry. Why? There's no problem. That is the best. Actually, when you are dating, don't say too much. When you are saying too much, you are spoiling things. Be relaxed. Sometimes we advise people, go to open places where probably there's even TV. When you are dry with any statement, you'll be watching Manchester United beating Arsenal. I rarely say Manchester United against Arsenal. I say Manchester United beating who? Arsenal. The second date, however, no touches, no kisses, but closer statements and conversations. How do you feel, my dear? Now, those endearments were not there. The other time, there was nothing like, dear, how do you feel? But now, within a period of a month, via WhatsApp, messages, this and that, you now come to a question like, how are you feeling, my dear? Is anything bothering you? You are getting a little closer into the life of this person. Now, what is funny about these two people? Instead of looking at me, you be looking at each other now. Practice a little bit. You see? The question is, thank you very much. Now, listen carefully. At that moment, there could even be the picking of another, either by him or the other. Dating is knowing each other. If that entered here, we would have peace. But Zungu know that a lot. But Africans here, including Christians, you are having a date, but you come hot. The breasts are out. The thighs close to Nika are out. It's a date. Now, this young man who started with some good distance, hey, but you also comes a little closer. Hey, how are you? Comes a little closer, a little closer, a little closer. That first or second dating, by the time you are done by it, every touches, every kisses, every sinning. Meanwhile, the blessings of the Lord are not there. And I want to be very honest with you. They are not there. Listen to this as I bring it to a close. You begin to fear, even at church, to stand next to her. Why? You got so deeper with her, touched every thigh, you now know the size of the thighs, you know how hot and cold they are, you've touched everywhere, you know the size of the breast. But now, the moment she sees you stand next to her, it is like you are betraying her. Why? We have gotten so close that at this time I wouldn't expect you to even imagine that you're standing with another person. But meanwhile, it was because you came dressed hot, not that I took time, I spent enough time to love you. There's nothing like I love you. There's no commitment between me and you, but you put me in the kind of feeling, somebody saying he manipulated, probably. So, as Christian men and ladies, the demarcations, the separating walls must be very clear. At this stage, what do? We are understanding each other. But a moment comes, apart from the second date, you have a third date. By the time you get a third date, things are really getting closer now. Where do you live? Which tribe is your mother? Which tribe is your father? Now, let me ask you. Suppose you start with the hypothetical questions now. Suppose in future you married. Where would you want to live? How many children would you love to have? What are the things in a relationship that you want to be done and the things, what are your do's and don'ts? Those questions are getting you closer. It could actually be on the third date that you finally come closer, look into the eyes of this person. I don't know if you can even do that, by the way, for me. And then you finally say, I love you. I love you. Give me a chance to propose to you. Probably, I don't know whether people are following. Listen carefully, listen carefully. This is where the gist is now. At this moment now, probably the fourth or fifth, the numbers don't really mind. It could be as many casual dates until that materializes into a more serious dating outing. That specific evening, you say, will you marry me? Will you marry me as come after understanding this person, having strong feeling and desire for this person, knowing so much about this person, and I have tested myself in this marketplace, sized up different gentlemen, sized up different ladies, and I feel this person is a special person compared to other people. And so my question now comes, I hold the hand of this lady, and my question is, will you marry me? Only a fool asks a question of, will you marry me on the first dating outings? Will you marry me on what grounds? And this is what, by the way, baffles these ladies, by the way. Why ladies get so much disturbed and you gents in church are like, ladies are very proud, ladies are difficult. God has created these ladies with a little bit of spirit understanding. They want you to give things time to grow naturally. But for boys, because for them, love means the enticement, the desire for sex, that first evening, they are asking, they are like, I love you. Will you marry me? In actual sense, they are not saying, will you marry me? They are saying, is it possible you can have sex with me? it is not a question of marriage. Now, I usually tease people. When I was still a young man, I have never even imagined and thought about it. It never even happened. I cannot have feelings for you and I feel like I can marry you, and by the time I ask you, you're saying, you can't. Unless you are not a man. They are indicators that a young woman will give that should even lead you to such a question. Only a stupid young man will ask such a question, and the answer is no. Ladies are good at sending the signals. The signals are very clear. They want to be in your presence. When you converse with them, your conversation is a nice conversation to them. You send a message, they respond. They are free and at ease with you. So by the time you are like, will you marry me? It is just a matter of asking, but she's all decorated with yeses, 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 yeses. It has been given time. The mistake we make during the dating period, first dating, first outing, you are touching thighs, you are touching, so you awaken feelings of sex in this young girl. You yourself, you are up there, she's up there, you sleep with each other. You are not sleeping with each other because you love each other. You are sleeping with each other because you have awakened the sexual feelings. In other words, I love sex, I am not loving you. So you eventually sleep together. But after the act, you hate each other even the more. Why? You have used each other. Relationships that the Lord blesses are relationships where young people take their time, prayerfully, date they don't date in corners and during weird night hours. The night is a very funny time. You start with the distance, before you know, the distance has narrowed. And then I heard men talk about manipulation. But men manipulate ladies much more. You took her to a very distant place. There are no even borders. They are relying upon you. It is 10 in the night. And you young ladies, I don't know why you keep falling prey to the tricks of young men. Where are we going? Don't you trust me? I am only asking, where are we going? I usually speak to my daughters, and I keep challenging them. Be in charge of yourself. You sit in a border as if they are carrying a parcel. They ride and ride. Where are we going? You'll see. Let us go. Meanwhile, the young man is increasing in distance, making it difficult for you to even find means of transport for you to rescue yourself. It is a known fact. I have read the statistics. By the time ladies get to the age of 25 years, almost 40% of them, almost 40% have been forced into unwanted sex. You are helpless. You have nothing to do. You are cornered. So I want ladies to understand that in a relationship, if you're not very careful, you seem to be a bit disadvantaged. This man is stronger. This man is more manipulative. There is something that we want to carry out research on. The moment a young girl is told, I love you, she loses herself. She easily trusts. So what do? Do not commit yourself to distant dating. Dating can be in the open. The first time I took my wife, by then my fiancé, to an outing, for a dating outing. As a Christian, I made sure that I go to Club 5. You know Club 5? In Makerere University. It is inside Makerere University. I don't know whether it is still there. So we went to a very open place where students are. That was our first date. And it was very casual. We ordered for chips, we ordered for chicken, we ordered for sodas. We took, meanwhile we conversed. That was the shortest night evening I've ever had. I was so happy. And there was, surrounded by people. But for a good number of you, the dating is in the gardens, a hidden table somewhere. You are cornered, you are two of you, taken about 30 kilometers away from Kampala. You like it or not? That could be a night to pray, P-R-E-Y, on you. Am I speaking to someone now? And as gentlemen, we have a duty to protect our sisters. Gentlemen, look at me. I want to say something. I went to Makerere University on government sponsorship. I don't know if there are any of you who are being paid for by the government. Sponsored by the government. I was also being paid money. You know, to be sponsored by government is quite enjoyable. They pay for you in terms of tuition, but they will actually pay you money. And then you are somewhere. The lodging facilities, you know, what do you call them? Your whatever, the halls of residence are there. Very good food, chicken, fish, what we of course kept calling very good food. So I always had money as a young man. Now, including ladies in church, young ladies, they kept bringing themselves in my vicinity because I had the money, I was working, I had no pressure for tuition. But as a Christian young man, I had the duty not to abuse these young ladies. To the extent, I used to love God a lot. I still do love him. I used to go preach places. But as I'm seated here preaching, two of them have followed where I have gone. So anything could have happened. But I kept preaching to a very good number of them. We are Christians and the scripture is very clear. How can I sin against the Lord? Up to this day, I'm not guilty for anything like I have ever tampered with the life of a young lady or anything. Nothing. So, you want the blessings of the Lord to follow you. Don't spoil these young ladies. You have the brain to manipulate them. You use the brain to manipulate them. You pile the curses. Every time a woman cries for manipulation, for being used and for being dumped, your account of blessing is rising. Is your account of blessing rising? It is falling. And for ladies, don't put yourselves in tricky situations. Please don't. So, I deliberately spent a lot of time on that because it answers quite a number of other questions. How can the church help young ladies that fall for older men? By doing what I have done today. Since morning until now, is there now a young lady surely who can commit to a man with a bimeni? Now, for you young ladies, you should be calling us bimeni. We are bimeni. A man who is old enough to be your father. Those are curses. Eh? Now that's a very interesting one. This man is old, single, you love him, go. No problem. If that is what you want to go. However, a man of my age and older, and you are marrying a girl of 20, 21 years, instead of enjoying the relationship, you are just giving orders. You, come out. Because you are more looking at her like your daughter. So we don't really advise so much a bigger gap. But you marry a person with whom you can happen, surely. Man of your, I know there are men in church, by the way. There are men older than myself. I have seen them in church. They are marrying girls in their 20s. Personally, I don't want to buy into that. I'm in my early 40s, but I wouldn't do that. I really feel young girls in 20s are my daughters. I am 40 years, twice as old as they are. That is me. But other men are saying, elder, you are joking. We don't want to go for older girls. We want to go for those young ones. So, in the event that the young girl feels like she's okay, and the other one also feels they are okay, there is no Bible rule against that. But especially for married men. Married men are just full of curses. Never go for them. I'm telling you the truth. Every married man who tells you, I love you, you say, Satan, get behind me. Fire, fire. A married man. Because now, surely, me, I usually speak out of experience. I am committed to my wife. I have my children. I have enough troubles of my own. These men, a man of my age can't love you. He would only be wanting to use you. There's no love. No love at all. Never be deceived. He doesn't love you. Using you? Yes. Loving you? No. Ring. Adventist church, why do they refuse the ring? But I have seen some men here and some ladies with rings. Me, I'm not putting on a ring because the church refused that we shouldn't have a ring. No. I just don't find the sense and meaning in a ring. But if I had found the sense and the meaning, it would be here. And I would want to say person who comes and says no ring on my finger. The finger is mine. And the ring is mine. So for me, I usually tell people, I don't have a ring, not because the church doesn't. I am not a church, I am myself. And there's no Bible verse that says, do not put on a ring. But for me, out of personal choice, I chose not to put on a ring. Doesn't make sense to me. It is irritating, actually. There was a time I tried putting it on, but it is an irritant on my finger. It's the only reason why I don't put it on. There are verses in the Bible that can be equated to that. But mainly, why the church doesn't encourage. Maybe the question would be, why doesn't the church encourage? It is meaningless. What does a ring mean? Most men who put on rings finally go ahead and sleep with young ladies. And the other way around is also true. So we don't encourage rings because they have no attachment. But we also don't encourage rings because we have seen other people who love to misuse rings and how the devil has also taken on rings. So I'll never encourage anyone to put on a ring, but I cannot meet a person who has put on a ring and I spend my energy and time discouraging a person from putting on a ring to put it off. No, I wouldn't. You want to say something? Yes.
Thank you, Elder. I need counsel on something related to that. We have been talking about relationship. After relationship, like those guys, they have reached the stage of marriage. So my question is here about marriage. The church emphasizes holy matrimony, going to the church, preacher coming and joining the couple. So my question is here. Why does it, maybe it's ignorance, but I don't know if it's in our church. Does the church acknowledge legal marriages? Like, we go to the court, we officially get married. We get next of kin and we get married. Because in my point, I made this. I had a friend of mine. He's a bit older than me, but we grew up together. I'm 22. I'm turning 23. I'm born of the church, SDA. So I'm a master guide. I've been to all levels. I'm a deacon. I've studied Bible class. So he was like, Enoch. So this guy was like, Enoch. For me, when I want to get married, but my father is like, you have to go to the church. But I don't want the church. I want to go to the court. If they want so much, they are emphasizing so much about it, let the pastor come be my next of kin. So if it's okay, let the pastor himself come be my next of kin so that he witnesses that I've got married. Why isn't it like supported? Why isn't it, I don't know how to state it, but why isn't it promoted in our church, legal marriages? Because my answer there was like, we have fundamental beliefs. We have fundamental beliefs. We have that fundamental belief which says marriage and a family. So I need more counsel if you are to counsel someone like that. Thank you.
You are a son of a church elder? Huh? Oh, who is that one, if you don't mind to tell me? You mind? Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, I have a question on top of his.
Okay.
Also about marriage.
No.
Why aren't traditional marriages considered legal by the church?
Now, let me respond to both questions with very simple responses here that I want to make. The Bible says, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Marriage is divine. Marriage is godly. How do I go to a judge? How do I go to a court official to officiate over a ceremony that is supposed to be divine? I wouldn't. Marriage is not traditional just at that. It may have the traditional connotations, but ultimately, as Christians, I want to emphasize that we want the blessings of the Lord as we begin. The church officiates. The only thing where I would listen to a person, should a person push you for marriage and for a very expensive wedding, you have a reason to say, even without a wedding, marriage can be. But a pastor to officiate over my marriage is to honor God. To say no to a pastor and our wedding can be without a pastor and we have gone to a judge, it means we are saying, God and your things we don't want, we can do it our own way. So I would advise as much as possible. Is marriage having any traditional connotations and cultural aspects? Yes. However, it must end up in church. Why? It is the church that is an institution that God uses on earth to officiate over divine ceremonies. As simple as that. Jesus said, to Caesar, give what belongs to Caesar. Does really marriage belong to Caesar? Does marriage belong to a court? Does marriage belong to the traditional chief? It is divine. And who acts on behalf of God on earth? The church system, the pastors. And that is where we should go to finally ask the Lord to bless our marriages. Is that clear? It is not. Why? Why isn't it clear? So let me ask you, maybe this would make it clear. Why would you not want to go to church? Please share the microphone with her. Why would you not want to go to church?
Thank you. I'm sorry for not introducing myself at the first time. I'm called Miracle, born SDA. But then, it's not that I wouldn't not want to go to church, but
yes.
Personally, I think marriage is, marriage approval is majorly from parents. And traditionally, parents take a very big part in the marriage, isn't it? It is. What if we do the traditional marriage, but then we are prayed for? Aren't we married, really, legally? Because the parents have approved us. And also, if I'm wrong, may you please, maybe you show me the Bible verses that tell us that we have to specifically go to church.
That's a good one, but you haven't answered my question. Why would you not want to go to church?
I answered, I'm sure. I said, it's not that I don't want to go to church.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
But what?
Okay. I always feel like we are practicing other people's traditional marriage, the Western marriage. Like us people coming to church in white dresses and suits. That is the Western culture, isn't it? It is.
Okay. Okay. You want to answer her? Or in addition? Let me first say something and then maybe you can come in. Why are we here today? No. Let me ask you, why are we here today? What does the Sabbath law say? 6 days, you shall do all your, but the 6th day is the Sabbath unto the Lord. Does the Bible tell us on the 7th day you must go to church? No, you answer me. Why are we here? All right, listen carefully. You wanted to make a comment? Yes, make your comment. Yes. Exactly. Yes.
As Paul was talking to one of his churches, he encouraged them to continue fellowshipping.
Exactly.
When you're fellowshipping, they are like when you share testimonies, let me say, you will encourage someone who has lost.
Exactly.
So it is in that spirit that we come to church and fellowship together.
So in other words, it was an encouragement, but not a law.
Yeah, it is not a law.
And I want to build on what you're saying, to say, Paul, they heed Paul's advice and encouragement on the account of the fact that the system of the church and the leadership then, they had to listen to. So God has put a system, the system of the church in place. The good thing, I'm not a pastor. One would think I'm defending the church. I am a common person like all of you. Me, I'm just like any other person, but I'm giving you the truth. So, God's system and the way of doing things is through the church structures and the leaders, and those are our pastors and church elders. So God has guided the church to say, for marriages, for children of God, your marriages will be officiated in church. During those days, God officiated over those marriages. For example, the marriage between Isaac and Rebekah. God officiated. So Abraham sends Eliezer. Eliezer goes, gets Rebekah. They had to swear. They prayed. Those were the times because the church, the way it is, was not there. Today, God has guided that there should be structures. The church must be there. People must witness. So our church leaders who are acting on behalf of God, divinely put by God, are saying, yes, you have met from there. But without witnesses, if you just do it from there, we really would discourage that because we are not so sure such a marriage has witnesses. Number two, there could be mistakes that have been done. But you now come to the church leaders because marriage is divine. Let the pastor officiate over this marriage and bring the two of you together in marriage. I would only discourage going to church if there was something wrong with it. But because there is nothing wrong with it, I encourage people to go to church and officiate their marriages. Yes.
Nyansio Muhindo. My challenge, I think let me comment on her question. Why are we adopting the Western culture? For example, we have two people, him and him. We have just graduated, okay? He wants to get married officially. This one wants to get married officially. Now, the challenge comes. This one gets a very good paying job. This one does not get a very big, good paying job. But two people, they all want to get married officially. The wedding from the church. The only mistake maybe the church may be doing is the one who is having money weds officially. And when this one asks, now this one tells this one, my brother, things are too expensive. The wedding gown, the shoe, what, shoes, everything. Now this one gets scared. Internally, this man wants to get married, but now the church has maybe it should come up with some simple weddings, like the way I'm dressed. I pick her, we come here, the thing is done, then the pastor prays for me, we go home. Because the gown is not the one supposed to be cooking.
Pause a minute. Pause a minute. Listen, can we listen to each other? He still has the microphone. Let us listen. Do you have an example of a couple that was stopped from appearing before the church the way you're suggesting? And the pastor said, I will not wed you because you've come dressed casually.
The example may not be there, but the person may fear because that is the culture. You have been seeing it for all that long.
So whose problem? Is it the pastor or you?
The church.
No. The church does not choose your gown, has never commanded you to come dressed. Actually, you choose to dress more elegantly and more expensively than what the church wants. The church would want you to come simple, but you want to dress expensively. It is a problem of learning and copying from other people. The way you are saying it, one day present yourself the way you are, get you already dressed. The church will only stop you from marrying and coming to present yourself before the pastor and the church if, and I want to underline, you are dressed indecently. The breasts are out, the thighs are out, the church will come in. But even if you came in a chitenji, a gomasi, the church will never stop you. So on that, the church has never had a problem.
Maybe the church should advocate for that.
Should do what?
Should advocate for that.
No, it is
simple-
not the church to advocate. You should know what you want.
We initiate.
And in case you didn't know, like the church where I worship, the Adventist church has gone ahead to wed people during camp meetings. No expensive cars, no after parties, no nothing. The people just come, they serve beans and portion to the rest of the people as usual, and the pastor declares from this day, this man and this woman, a husband and wife, go in the blessings of the Lord. So the problems of weddings and expensive things, they are not the pastors to blame. We are to blame.
Praise God.
Amen.
I always keep myself from speaking, but I think I have to put one line on what she has said. If I look at the church and the church structure, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, one, arguments like hers have been put up. What if when I'm baptized, then I don't want to go to a church? Right? I hope you have ever heard of that. It resonates with what she has said. Now, I was reading somewhere, and Ellen G. White said, God operates on earth using the structure of the church he has set up. Right? In another place, Testimonies to the Church, she writes and calls the General Conference, which is the highest authority of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, as the highest authority that exists on earth, not even the U.S. government. Right? Now, if I have my marriage and I want it to be recognized by God, right? Which authority should I go to? The U.S. authority? I think I should go to the authority which God operates on earth. When Saul was baptized, right? He was commanded, go to who? That name starts with A. Either Ananias, something like that. And then they will pray for you and your eyes will be opened and you will join the church. Right? Now, in other words, she was bringing the idea that you cannot operate as an individual. It is impossible. In other words, God brings you to his church. Same thing. If your marriage is to be recognized by God, there is a peculiar structure that he has set on earth through which he operates. That line is very clear. So choose to go to the U.S. government. But there is an authority that God calls the highest authority on earth. The choice is up to you. May God bless you.
So we may need to stop at that. The issue is, if your father said, I want you to come now, you can choose to say no. But in most cases, you choose to say yes. Why? Because the person speaking is your father. So he's only re-echoing what I said earlier. The structures that God has put in place are structures of the church. Why would I want to listen to a traditional culture setting when ultimately I know culture and tradition don't go beyond the earth? They are to remain here. But the church will even continue to heaven. So we listen to the church. We can only say no to the church if the church is misleading us. But if the church is not misleading me, yes, and yes to the church. And there's no problem. The only thing that I seem to get out of what my daughter is saying, we have made the wedding, the marriage and wedding ceremonies too expensive. They are becoming very unaffordable. So she's not against the church, by the way. She's saying, is there a way we can run away from church? And I am now demystifying on this. I am helping people to realize the truth. Marriages are made expensive not by the church, but by what we copy from other people. Just to do something simple. Why would you really Now, you hear how you are laughing? You wouldn't imagine your wedding during the camp meeting. Now, have you heard the person who is also asking, this daughter of mine, the way she is, let now a man come and discuss camp meeting. You will see her. So, the church has no problem. Those problems are our own created problems. Just allow me to respond to some of these questions here. Someone says, he loves me, but I don't feel it. Am I normal? Now look here, guys. The thing is not about, it's not, this person is not talking about how you feel. This person is talking about how he feels about you. He's the one who says, I love you. Now it should come from you to say, I also love you. Or to say, you love me, but I don't love you. Now, this question is a powerful question. Don't play around with it. Very sensitive question. Now, listen carefully. It is not enough for a person to love you. The person who loves you, you should also love the person. Relationships where people seem to be suffering are relationships where a person went because, elder, why I accepted that man? That man loved me so much. There's no way I could say no to him. The man loved me. And you're like, did you love him? Elder, me, I thought I would also grow to love him. So, am I normal? Very normal. Is he normal? Yes. But there is a problem. For the relationship to be, you must not only love me, I must also love you. To the extent that you are loving me and I don't seem to love you, then we must pause. And this is where we make a mistake. You go with a person just on account of the fact that a person loves you, but do you love the person? Allow love to be. Don't commit yourself to a person you don't love. Sometimes you commit yourselves to people because that person is a super person in church. He preaches very good sermons. Everybody talks about that gentleman with his sermons. Marriage is not about sermons. You love him because of the sermons here, but in marriage it's not going to be like, open from the book of Genesis, what the Lord is saying. Hallelujah. That's not marriage. Actually, in marriage, there is no need for preaching. You are preaching to who? I'm already converted. I know where someone's come from. In marriage, we are just called upon to love each other, to share the word of God, to fellowship, not to sermonize. Sermons don't work. Me, I preach a lot. Now, tomorrow, that's why I even want to leave. Tomorrow, very early in the morning, 7, I'll be preaching. This time round in an Anglican church. I'll be preaching in 2 services. For them, they have services. But I am a preacher. Now, I don't take my sermons home to preach to who? To my children? To my wife? Actually, the moment you begin to lead your home as a preacher, then you are killing the love. Hallelujah, my wife. Open in the book of Genesis what the Lord tells us. Hallelujah. So, we don't marry people because of the nice things they say. He walks so well for me. He has a very nice figure. When you marry that nice figure, I am telling you, the nice figure, like I was telling you in the morning, is only a starting point. In marriage, the figure will be there. You will cease looking at it. So, marriage figure, yes. A woman who looks nice, yes. But most importantly, there must be a point of loving. So, whoever wrote this question, I love the question. Very powerful question. I beg your pardon? It does what? But are you going to be singing? Marriage is not a choir. Marriage is not a choir. Then the other question here that was written. How do we deal with boyfriends, partners who are abusive just because of tribal issues? How do you deal with them? You quit. This is a fool. I mean, if I am a Musoga and you are abusive to the Basoga, you kill the love. I don't even waste a moment with you. You a fool. We don't choose our tribes. We are born in those tribes, not out of choice. You just wake up and you are Munyankole, Munyarwanda, whatever. So if somebody is not willing to respect your tribe, don't even make a mistake. Because this person is going to ridicule you, to be very abusive, to make fun of you. So how do we deal with? Don't even imagine that relationship will happen. As simple as that. You are there suffering. What do you do in dating and what do you do in courtship? How long should the process be? Very good questions. In dating, I shouldn't waste your time. We have gone through that. Courtship, we are preparing ourselves with the details of our wedding, our marriage. We are getting closer to things. We are preparing for our wedding. We are trying to get to understand the details. We are fine-tuning things. A reverse gear at this moment is possible, even during courtship. The only difference now, I am not now free to date this one, to date the other, to date. However, we can continue to date during courtship. Courtship is the most immediate period that follows before marriage. So, courtship is all about letting the other people know something special is happening between the two of you, preparing for your marriage, trying to look at what the finances will be like, discussing how your family will be, how you will be able to adjust to work, family, and all those kind of details. So, courtship doesn't mean sleeping with the other person. Because I have seen and heard many people falling victims just because they feel, because we are in courtship and anyway we shall get married, why don't we do some of the things that we shall do there? We are not permitted. So it should be pure, it should be clean as it was in dating. So should we remain with that relationship until marriage. So all through there should be no sex. The moment you involve sex, you are spoiling things. The last two questions here, then we close. Oh, there was a question of how long. We do not have a specific period of how long it should take, but generally speaking, courtship, a year, something above, near ideally, I would advise not anything less than a year. Under normal circumstances, if a relationship has started, I would advise that it doesn't take less than 2 years. That period is enough. You come to the university, you're being trained to be a teacher, and you study for 3 years. But it is far easier to be a teacher than it is to be successful in marriage. So why would you want to just rush yourself into marriage? Marriage is more complicated and more demanding than training to be a doctor, to be an engineer. Those things are too simple compared to preparations for being in marriage. So minimum of 2 years would be ideal. But other people tell you a minimum of a year. But for me, out of a personal opinion, I would advocate for 2 years, but not anything more than 2.5 years. Because even when it stays for too long, it also bores. It bores, you begin to go into nasty things because the person is not willing to be patient. So be careful. How long do I need glasses to read this? How long does somebody help me read this? The good thing there are no names, so you can read. You're good at reading handwritings?
So the next one, me. I think the English was not that good, but the person is like, how long does it take? Let me first read it as it is, then we see how to collect this person. He or she wrote, how long does me taking stage take? Then in brackets, like when a guy approaches one and she has to decide basing on the waiting for God's sign that she's prayed for. Like when a guy approaches one and she has to decide basing on the waiting.
So I think it's not just my complication, but even this person is also failing. So let's go for the other question. Is it fears of responsibility by Adventist gentlemen? They show signs that they love you, but can't say anything. They keep around and leave you pending for long, yet they are of age to marry. Can you date without the official word love? Date without talking to each other? When should the word I love you come? Somebody may be around, but he may not be loving you. Doesn't mean that when these gents are around, then they should love you. So if he doesn't say anything, never waste your time with a man who has not declared. Because the way you ladies do your things is by eyes. God will do anything, you look so nice, smile and do what. That's how you communicate. It's not very easy that you're going to come and tell a gentleman, I love you. And you're a lady, that could be a bit funny. But if a gentleman is not willing to open up, it means probably in the marketplace he's still sizing up things. He's trying to weigh. So why would you want to force him to say? If he's not saying, then it doesn't mean. It means he doesn't love you. You wouldn't waste your time over someone. There is a war here. It's like you are taking too long speaking. Bring our microphone. He came as if he had been sent. So, how long should it take before the word "I love you" come? We don't have a defined period it should take, but if it hasn't come, it hasn't come. Can we date without the word "I love you"? Oh, it looks awkward. Eh? It means a lot to the ladies. Eh? That time, I think the best experience for most ladies is when a gentleman opens up and says, "I love you." They feel the whole world now has finally come. Okay? No. I am hearing a no. What does the no mean? Eh? If I tell a girl that be my date, what does it mean? It means that let us meet, chat, and eat and discuss. But in Africa, it has connotations. Be my date in Africa may mean can we go out to eat and after we sleep together. That is the African stupid context. But from the white man is, by the way, I also still date today. I still have work dates. So sometimes we say, can we catch a business date? And many times, by the way, some of the people I date are ladies. But it is a business date. I am a married man. This person knows this man is married and it's very casual. There's nothing. Like you guys, when you're in Kampala, you can come over and you're like, Elder, are you there? Are you at office? And then you are catching a lunch date. Doesn't mean I'm falling for you or you are falling for me. We are just talking. And it is that. I can date a man. I usually have dates with gentlemen. It is a man-to-man date. So the word date, anybody with the Google? Because this seems to be a question that most people keep. Does any of you have internet to read for us the meaning of date, of dating? As we close, of course. So, you are spending time with each other, you're testing compatibility, but you are not preparing for sex. No touches, no kisses. I think I should also address this. I hear the common thing of people saying, we only kissed. You people, I thought a kiss is even more serious than sex. Actually, to kiss someone is more trusting. You kiss a person and you're like, it was just a kiss. You are exchanging saliva. So, I don't think a kiss is innocent. Eh? A kiss is another form of sex. Sex with your mouth. So, please don't do those things and you are like, it was only a kiss. No. As Christians, live lives that are pleasing to the Lord. Let us stand up and pray. It was nice having time with you people. I think it's been a